Shalom, my friends. Welcome to Weekly Parsha with Yehuda Yisrael. This week's Parsha is Parshat Korach, which happens to be my second favorite Parsha in the entire Torah. Can you guess what my first favorite Parsha is? Guess in the comments below. Anyway, we'll start off with Korach, who is, of course, one of the most infamous people in the entire Torah. That gives you a little bit of a hint of what my favorite Parsha is, because there is somebody a little more infamous in the Torah. And if you guys can figure that out, then you can put it in the comments and maybe you'll guess my favorite Parsha. But at least among Israel, Korach is arguably the most infamous. So let's get into the story of Korach. Korach, the son of Ishar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, took himself to one side along with Datan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Peleth, the descendants of Reuben, and they confronted Moses together with 250 men of the children of Israel, chieftains of the congregation, representatives of the assembly, men of repute. And they assembled against Moses and Aaron, and they said to them, "You take too much upon yourselves, for the entire congregation are holy, and the Lord is in their midst. So why do you raise yourselves above the Lord's assembly?" So they're basically saying that Moses and Aaron, because they are the leaders of a congregation, that they are elevating themselves to a point of authority. And you could argue that Korach was the first communist. Like in spirit, maybe not in exact one-to-one theory, but he's arguing for the idea that everybody is equal, everybody should have equal rights, except for me, I should be your leader, right? So that's the impracticality of communism. In theory, it sounds great, but the argument is that really Korach wanted to be, in charge of everything, but he's trying to make a compelling argument to say, well, everyone should be equal. So anyway, Moses heard and fell on his face. He spoke to Korach and to all his company, saying, "In the morning the Lord will make known who is his, who is holy, and he will draw them near to him, and the one he chooses he will draw near to him." So Moses is saying that there's going to be a way to differentiate this and see if Korach really is all he's cracked up to be the leader of Israel. Do this, Korach and his company. Take for yourselves censures. So this is going to be a way to differentiate. Place them into place fire into them and put incense upon them before the Lord tomorrow. And the man whom the Lord chooses, he is the Holy One. You have taken too much upon yourselves, sons of Levi. Right? So this is the idea of, Moses is kind of rebuking them for questioning the hierarchy of how things work. And Moses said to Korach, "Please listen, sons of Levi. Is it not enough that the God of Israel has distinguished you from the congregation of Israel to draw you near to him, to perform the service in the Mishkan of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation and minister to them?" So Moses is arguing, you are already distinct. You are, descended from Kohath. You are you have the, distinction from the rest of Israel. He drew you near, and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you. And now you seek the kahuna, the priesthood as well, because he's, Korach's argument was that, well, why, it's like nepotism. It's like Moses and Aaron, why do you guys get this distinction from each other? And Moses is like, well, you already have a distinction, Korach. This is actually Moses's first cousin, I believe. So yeah, he's already distinct from the congregation, but he wants more. Therefore, you and your entire company who are assembled are against the Lord. For what is Aaron that you should complain against him? Right? What are you complaining against Aaron? This is just the way it is. This is what it is. So Moses sent to call Datan and Abiram, right? The infamous troublemaking duo, the sons of Eliab, but they said, "We will not go up." So they defy Moses' word. And then they say this really biting, sarcastic comment. They say, "Is it not enough that you have brought us out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the desert, that you should also exercise authority over us?" So they're flipping this land of milk and honey idea on its head, right? The promise is that Eretz Canaan, Eretz Yisrael, is this, land filled with milk and honey and wonderful things. And they're saying that Egypt, where they were slaves, was actually the land of milk and honey, and that Moses took them out of that amazing paradise of, ironically, the place that was where they were slaves. "You have not even brought us to a land flowing with milk and honey, nor have you given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. For even if you gouge the eyes out of those men, we will not go up." So they're like, "We don't respect your authority at all." And Moses was exceedingly distressed, and he said to the Lord, "Do not accept their offering. I have not taken a donkey from a single one of them, and I have not harmed a single one of them." So Moses is kind of arguing, like, don't, he's saying, don't accept their offering, and, wipe me clean of this. And Moses said to Korach, "You and your entire congregation should go before the Lord, they and Aaron tomorrow. And let each man take his censer and place incense upon it. And let each man present his censer before the Lord. And there will be thus 250 censers. And let you and Aaron each take his censer." So this is the ceremony of seeing who's in charge, who God is going to choose. So each man took his censer. They put fire upon it and placed incense upon it. And they stood at the entrance to the tent of meeting with Moses and Aaron. Korach assembled all the congregation against them at the tent of meeting, and the glory of the glory of the Lord appeared before the entire congregation. So here it is. "And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Dissociate yourselves from this congregation, and I will consume them in an instant." They fell on their faces and said, "O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, if one man sins, shall you be angry with the whole congregation?" Right? So, is everybody going to be punished for this? And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the congregation, saying, Withdraw from the dwelling of Korach, Datan, and Abiram." So God's answer is, no, not everybody is going to be, the wrath isn't going to be poured upon everyone, but you just have to separate yourselves from the evil ones, so to speak. Moses arose and went to Datan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. He spoke to the congregation, saying, "Please get away from the tents of these wicked men, and do not touch anything of theirs, lest you perish because of all their sins." So there is a distinction made. So making that clear. So they withdrew from around the dwelling, Korach, Datan, and Abiram. And Datan and Abiram went out standing upright at the entrance of their tents, together with their wives, their children, and their infants. And Moses said, "With this you shall know that the Lord sent me to do all these deeds, for I did not devise them myself. If these men die, as all men die, and the fate of all men will be visited upon them, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord creates a creation, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them, and all that is theirs, and they descend alive into the grave, you will know that these men have provoked the Lord." So Moses is setting up a prophecy that he's saying is going to happen. And it's a miraculous feat that really has never been seen before. So Moses is basically setting up a proof of his prophetic authority. So as soon as Moses finished speaking all these words, the earth beneath them split, and the earth beneath them opened its mouth and swallowed them and their houses and all the men who were with Korach and all the property. So it happened. They were swallowed up, and all they possessed descended alive into the grave, and the earth covered them up, and they were lost to the assembly. Wow. All Israel who were around them fled from their cries, for they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up too." So this was a scary event. A fire came forth from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who had offered up the incense. Wow. So the people who defied, right, in that, who were trying to challenge Moses, right? The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say to Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the Cohen, that he should pick up the censers from the burned area, but throw the fire away, because they have been sanctified. The censers of these who sinned at the cost of their lives, and they shall make them into flattened out plates as an overlay for the altar. For they brought them before the Lord, and have therefore become sanctified, and they shall be as a reminder for the children of Israel. So this is going to be like a reminder of don't challenge the authority of Moses and Aaron. Because Eleazar was, the succeeding high priest, the son of Aaron, who is not of the seed of Aaron, shall approach to burn incense before the Lord, so as not to be like Korach and his company, as the Lord spoke regarding him through the hand of Moses. So this is an interesting idea that is implemented in the Torah. You should not challenge the idea that Aaron and his sons are the priests who will do these specific duties that are unique to Aaron and his sons, which are the priestly, Kohanic, Levitical duties. Right. So, and obviously the Levites, who are just, not descended from Aaron, are, they have distinction, but not to that same level. The following day, the congregation of Israel complained against Moses, saying, you have killed the people of the Lord. So even after all of this, there were some people who were, well, I guess it says the entire congregation. And it came to pass, while the congregation were assembled against Moses and Aaron, that they turned to the tent of meeting, and behold, the cloud had covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent of meeting. So they need more clarification here of who's in charge, right? So the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, stand aside from this congregation, and I shall consume them in an instant. And they fell on their faces. Moses said to Aaron, so it sounds like Moses was trying to keep the congregation from being, I guess, the bad fate that would happen to them. So Moses once again comes to the rescue and says, take the censer and put fire from the altar top into it and put incense. Then take it quickly to the congregation and atone for them. For wrath has gone forth from the Lord, and the plague has begun. Just like in last week's Parsha, Moses was able to save the congregation through his prayer, right? After the sin of the spies. Moses was once again able to do this. And once again, this atonement here is not through blood. So you New Testament followers who claim the only way to atone for your sins is through the shedding of blood, here we have incense as a valid mean of atonement. So you can throw the New Testament in the garbage for making statements like the only way to atone for sin is through the shedding of blood. This is another example of another way to deal with sin. Aaron took it, just as Moses had said, and he ran into the midst of the assembly, and behold, the plague had begun among the people. He placed incense on it and atoned for the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague ceased. So no, the entire congregation was not consumed in an instant, because atonement was made, not through blood, but in this case through incense. The number of the dead in the plague was 14,700, besides those who died in the matter of Korach. So there were some who died, but not everyone, right? So Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance to the tent of meeting, and the plague was checked. Baruch Hashem. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, and take from them a staff for each father's house, from all the chieftains according to their father's houses, a total of 12 staffs, and inscribe each man's name on his staff. Inscribe Aaron's name on the staff of Levi, for there is only one staff for the head of their father's house. And you shall place the staffs in the tent of meeting before the ark of testimony, where I commune with you. The staff of the man whom I will choose will blossom, and I will calm down, turning away from myself the complaints of the children of Israel, which they are complaining against you. Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and all the chieftains gave him a staff for each chieftain according to their fathers' houses, a total of 12 staffs. And Aaron's staff was amidst their staffs. And Moses placed the staffs before the Lord in the tent of testimony. And on the following day, Moses came to the tent of testimony, and behold, Aaron's staff for the house of Levi had blossomed. It gave forth blossoms, sprouted buds, and produced ripe almonds. So once again, validation that Aaron is, the family of Aaron is the high priesthood. So Moses took out all the staffs from before the Lord to the children of Israel, and they saw, and they took each man his staff, so that everyone can really understand that Aaron and his sons have the priesthood. The Lord said to Moses, "Put Aaron's staff back in front of the testimony as a keepsake, as a sign for rebellious ones. Then their complaints against me will end, and they will not die." Moses did so. He did just as the Lord commanded him. The children of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, "Behold, we are dying. We will perish. We are all lost. Whoever comes the closest to the Mishkan of the Lord dies. Have we been co-signed to die?" And the Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your father's house shall bear the iniquity associated with the sanctuary, and you and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity associated with your kahuna." So once again, emphasizing that this is their duty. Aaron and his sons, also your brethren, the tribe of Levi, your father's tribe, draw close to you, and they shall join you and minister to you, and you and your sons with you before the tent of testimony. They shall keep charge of the tent. They shall keep charge and the charge of the tent, and they shall not approach the holy vessels or the altar, so that neither they nor you die. They shall join you, and they shall keep charge of the tent of meeting, and all the service of the tent, and no outsider shall come near you. They shall keep charge of the sanctuary and charge of the altar, so that there will be no more wrath against the children of Israel. I have therefore taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the children of Israel, and they are given to you as a gift, and given over to the Lord to perform the service in the tent of meeting. And you and your sons shall keep your kahuna in all matters concerning the altar, and concerning what is within the dividing screen, and you shall serve the service as a gift. I have given your kahuna, and any outsider non-Cohen who approaches shall die. And the Lord told Aaron, "Behold, I have given you the charge of my gift offerings, and I have thus given you all the holy things of the children of Israel for distinction as an eternal portion for your sons." So no, Jesus is not your high priest. Jesus never claimed to be of the tribe of Levi. The book of Hebrews is a bunch of lies, a bunch of silliness, claiming that the Levitical priesthood was weak and useless, and that it's going to soon disappear, and that it never really atoned for sins. No. If you actually believe what the Torah says, even Leviticus 17:11, it says that even the blood of animals atoned for sins. The incense atoned for sins. Even in some cases, the half shekel atoned for sins. Prayers atone for sin. In the book of Second Chronicles, chapter 30, with Hezekiah and his prayer, literally atoned for sin. Blood sacrifice is not the only way to atone for sin. And Jesus is not your high priest. Jesus is basically Korach, in essence, trying to take the kingship and the priesthood for himself, when that was never a command that was given in the Torah or anywhere in the Tanakh. The eternal portion is given to Aaron and his sons, and just as it says in Malachi chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, it literally says, the children of Levi will be purified, and then the offerings of Judah and Jerusalem will be pleasing to the Lord, as in the days of old and in former years. It's concerning the third temple, which will be built in the future Messianic era, speedily in our days. Same thing is validated by Ezekiel in chapters 40 through 48. This is what it is. The Levitical priesthood is here to stay, and anyone claiming that it's not is contradicting Torah. Any follower of the New Testament who claims, no, we don't have the Levitical priesthood anymore, you're a Korach. That's what you are. Your word against God's. These shall be yours from the holiest of the holies, from the fire, all the offerings and their meal offerings, their sin offerings and their guilt offerings, and what they return to me, they shall be holy of holies to you and your sons. And you shall eat it in the holiest of places. Any male may eat of it, and it shall be holy to you. It shall be yours, what you set aside for their gifts from all the wavings of the children of Israel. I have given them to you, and to your sons and your daughters with you, as an eternal portion. There it is again. Any ritually clean member of your household may eat it. The choice of the oil and the choice of the wine and grain, and the first of which they give to the Lord, to you I have given them. The first fruit of all that grows in their land, which they shall bring to the Lord, shall be yours. Any ritually clean member of your household may eat it of it. Any devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Every first issue of the womb of any creature which they present to the Lord, whether of man or beast, shall be yours. However, you shall redeem the firstborn of man, and the firstborn of unclean animals you shall redeem. Its redemption shall be performed from the age of a month, according to the valuation 5 shekels of silver, according to the holy shekel, which is 20 gerahs. This is also known as Pidyon Haben, and yes, rabbinic Jews do this to this very day. Firstborn males, right? They literally will give, the parents will give money to a Cohen to fulfill this. To this very day. I bet most Christians didn't know that, but this is a real thing because we do know who the Kohanim are today. That's why you see Jews with the last name of Cohen. That's not a coincidence, right? Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Mizrahim, it's not a coincidence that we all have surnames of Cohen because we have kept the tribe of Levi. We have surnames of Levine and Levi and Katz and Kaplan. All these names, they're significant because they're known as Cohen names. So, right. So, however, the firstborn ox or a firstborn sheep of a firstborn goat shall not be redeemed, for they are holy. Their blood shall be sprinkled on the altar, and their fat shall be burned as a fire offering, as a pleasing fragrance to the Lord. Their flesh shall be yours, like the breast of waving and the right thigh, it shall be yours. All the gifts of the holy offerings which are set aside by the children of Israel, for the Lord I have given to you, and to your sons and daughters with you, as an eternal portion. There it is again, eternal portion. It is like an eternal covenant of the salt before the Lord for you and your descendants with you. So no, the Levitical priesthood isn't going anywhere. No, Jesus didn't supersede it and do away with it and become your king and high priest. On the contrary, once again, and this is Torah. This is Torah. It doesn't point to some magical idea that Jesus of everything. Just stop. Stop with this nonsense. If you're a Christian and you're claiming it all points to Jesus. No, Jesus wasn't a Levite. He wasn't a Cohen. He was none of these things. He wasn't a king. The Lord said to Aaron, you shall not inherit their land, and you shall have no portion among them. I am your inheritance and the portion among the children of Israel. So once again, the Levites are given distinction. And to the descendants of Levi, I have given them tithes of Israel as an inheritance, meiser, in exchange for their service, which they perform the service of the tent of meeting. The children of Israel shall therefore no longer approach the tent of meeting, lest they bear sin and die. The Levites shall perform the service of the tent of meeting, and they will bear their iniquity. It is an eternal statute for your generations, but among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance. 4. The tithes of the children of Israel, which they shall set aside for the Lord as a gift, I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. Thus I have said to them that they shall serve no inheritance among the children of Israel. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the Levites and tell them, when you take the tithe from the children of Israel, which I have given you from them as your inheritance. You shall set aside from it as a gift for the Lord, a tithe of the tithe. Your gift shall be considered for you as grain from the threshing floor, as the produce of the vat. So you shall too set aside a gift for the Lord from all the tithes you take from the children of Israel, and you shall give thereof the Lord's gift to Aaron the priest. For all your gifts you shall set aside every gift of the Lord from its choicest portion, that part which it is to be consecrated. Say to them, when you separate its choicest part, you shall be considered for the Levites as produce from the threshing floor and as produce from the vat. You and your household may eat it anywhere, for it is your wage for you in exchange for your service in the tent of meeting. After you separate the choicest part from it, you shall not bear any sin on account of it, but you shall not profane the sacred offerings of the children of Israel, so that you shall not die. And that is Parshat Korach. I hope this video has been a blessing to you all. Shalom Aleichem.